The Treating Customers Fairly, affectionately called TCF Roadmap, was first published by SA authorities in 2011, and by 2014 the TCF 6 outcomes led the way for proposed legislation and supervision. The original TCF outcomes are worth summarizing at this point. 1. Culture and governance. 2. Product design. 3. Clear communication. 4. Suitable advice. 5. Performance and standards. 6. Claims, complaints and changes. When it was eventually passed into law, the 2017 Twin Peaks legislation upped the ante significantly, moving from a reactive to a proactive governance and strategy tempo. It had a marked emphasis of abusive behavior, as well as extending customer treatment into critical factors of integrity, reputation, and enhanced experience. Conduct risk was consequently promoted to a primary risk by the majority of FSPs, which says it all. With the publication of the COFI Bill, that is the Conduct of Financial Institutions Bill, in 2018, 2020 is when the fund will start. From promoting transformation, competition, inclusion and innovation, as well as protecting customers in addition to fairness, market conduct goes from 180 degrees to a full 360, straddling customer centricity with full force. What won't change is how empowered analytics sees the DNA of conduct, whether that be market or business, as primarily 5 pillars. Number 1, business model and strategy. Where to play and how to win are the most commonly used phrases in modern strategy. In the conduct context, this should be amended to how to win fairly. Shareholder value creation and optimization of TSR, total shareholder returns, is expected, but not at the expense of strategic fault lines, such as aggressive growth targets or over-reliance on cross-subsidization, that drive behaviors that lead to poor customer and often poor market outcomes. Number 2, culture. A business entity's culture, and that would be inclusive of people and behavioral insights, can be summarized in 3 parts. The way they conduct their business, what they expect of their staff, and their attitude towards their customers. The culture underpins everything they do, setting the tone for the behaviors they reward and promote. In our context, an effective culture will ensure that they treat customers fairly at every moment, and that they do not abuse the markets in which they operate. Number 3, frontline business processes. Business processes, from upstream product development to downstream complaints handling and everything in between, should be designed to give customers what they need and meet their expectations. It's all about good principles guiding good processes. Some examples of good practice that we have observed include understanding and catering for the customers of which a product is targeted, considering at the right stage how a product will achieve good outcomes for customers, taking account of customer experience to refine business practices, ensuring pay structures and incentive schemes do not encourage behaviors that cause poor outcomes for customers, taking measures to prevent conflicts of interest. Number 4, systems and controls. Firms can reinforce the right culture and business practices with effective and efficient systems and controls designed to identify and deal with conduct risks, as well as effective anti-money laundering measures et al. In particular, a business requires effective independent controls, and these are normally found in the compliance, risk, and internal audit functions that provide challenge to business units and assurance to senior management and the board that the organization is operating as designed and planned. Number 5, governance. In the first 4 pillars, executive management and the board play a key role in determining a firm's business model, strategies, and business practices, and ensuring appropriate systems and controls are in place. They should be able to explain clearly the conduct risks in their strategies, paying close attention to the way they implement customer and market-focused values. In addition to important components such as risk frameworks, governance operating models, etc., a board should also be addressing fundamental issues such as 1. High return products or business lines. 2. Whether it understands strategies for cross or upselling products. Number 3. How fast growth is achieved. 4. Whether products are being sold to customers and markets for which they were designed. The 5 pillars can be fused into a multitude of conduct frameworks or approaches or constructs out there, varying widely in detail and complexity, as many as there are players in the conduct space. But the one fuel they require to take these companies on their conduct journeys lies in 3 important areas: information, information, and more information. It's often overlooked that conduct information is risk data, and therefore BCBS 239 requires the info to be accurate, comprehensive, frequent, clear, and useful. Surely that's how management would always demand it. In fact, the UK regulator, the FSB, signalled the importance of conduct management information when they stated, and I quote, "Seeing the information that senior management bases its decisions on is essential for us to understand your culture, performance, and approach, and to identify emerging risks." Put more simply, it says that when we see what you look at, we will know what approaches are best in our supervision with you. So the imperative nature of regulatory intelligence associated with conduct risk is assured. However, the path to this ideal state is far from smooth. After multiple projects in this area, we use the analogy of a chessboard to explain the difficulties of conduct MI, management information. The chessboard has prima facie 64 squares, but in answering the question, how many squares does a chessboard have? The answer is permutationally 204, greater than 3 times the obvious answer, and so it is with conduct MI. Conduct risk versus other risk domains brings the following stark, accentuated, and quantum differences. The greatest number of data sources, we have seen between 40 and 45 on the majority of our projects. The biggest mix between first, second, and third-party data. The highest straddling and absorption of competitive and regulatory intelligence. The most fluid in terms of changing legislation, standards, and suggested best practice. The largest number of populations of potential metrics. We have a library of greater than 2,000 metrics. The largest number of associations with other risk areas, for example, reputation, operational, fin crime, etc. Last but not least, this area underpins the largest assets by far in any corporation. Its customer equity value, or expressed in another way, aggregated customer lifetime value. EA is specialized in risk-adjusted performance management through smart strategic intelligence with a specialization in market conduct. Our approach to assignments is threefold. Phase 1 is a conduct performance measurement and reporting assessment. Simply put, we assess your current reporting, the metrics you use, and the audiences receiving your mainline reports. We subsequently advise, recommend, and provide the ideal set of metrics and gap analysis, the ideal report audience mapping, our 2,000 metric conduct library, COFI-proofed, and a recommended reporting framework of scorecards and dashboards. This service is rapid and cost-effective and is an excellent platform for skills transfer. Phase 2 is a prototype reporting development whereby, using the BI tool of your choice and using the recommendations from Phase 1, we build a suite of recommended reports optimized for advanced conduct reporting. These would include 1. Scorecards twinned for business model and conduct compatibility. 2. Self-assessment, voice of customer, voice of employee overlays, which is a specialist reporting technique for the regulator and for internal use. 3. EA's one-number conduct sustainability index, which at first glance and in a single number answers the question, how was my conduct performance for the period under review? Using advanced algorithms and analytics, this approach represents new generation scorecarding and reporting. This approach was enhanced at both ABSA and Nedbank Insurance. 4. We look at second and third line of defense suggested reporting formats to complete the suite. Phase 3 is the implementation phase and is at the discretion of the client after consultation with their IT and risk management teams. We thank you very much for watching the presentation, and please don't hesitate, should you be interested and have a query of any nature whatsoever, to please contact us on the following details.